Kings, queen, princes, and princesses. Every JRPG has them. They're a staple after all. Sometimes they join your party, sometimes they just send you on a fetch quest. But with so many to choose from, which royalty are the best? That's the question that I asked my Discord server, and together, they came up with the top 10 best royal party members out there. Number 10, submitted by Dressed to Depress, and receiving 40 votes, is Noctis of Final Fantasy XV. Noctis is shockingly the very first royal protagonist that we have from this long-running series, and he's the crown prince of Lucius. And while his adventure originated as a road trip with his friends, ending with the marriage to his fiancée Lunafreya, it all goes to shit soon enough. First, the car breaks down, and soon after, he's roped into a war with the Empire. As he travels the world, Noctis begins to understand his duty as a benevolent and kind king. He's silly and sarcastic with his close friends, and a huge fan of fishing. And even though there are multiple endings, Noctis always ascends to the throne in one way or another, even if it means pains and sacrifices for his people. He has access to all weapon types, giving him a very versatile playstyle in battle. In fact, it's because of his royal bloodline that his party can use magic, turning flasks into devastating spells and sodas into potions. I guess all that royal breeding has done him some good. Number 9, submitted by Wills and receiving 40 votes, is Cecilia of Wild Arms. This blonde is an upstanding princess who struggles between her duties as the Princess of Adelheid and her desire to adventure and save the world. This is signified in how she cuts off her long locks of hair to show that she's leaving her old life behind to pursue a greater purpose, which is, to defeat Mother and save Filgaia. During the course of the game, she even develops romantic feelings towards Rudy. In battle, she's the only playable character that can use magic, which makes her essentially a sage, able to cast both black and white magical spells. She can heal her allies, use elemental magic, and can summon guardians to blow them all away to smithereens. I guess using up all this magical power can make a girl hungry, so watch out when she's in a restaurant, because she is a hangry one. Let me just stop and say that if you're liking this and you want to see more cool top 10s, then please do hit that subscribe button and make sure to allow all notifications. And with that is number 8, submitted by Alonzo Tigerheart and receiving 33 votes, we have Olivier of the Legend of Heroes series. While we first meet this prince in Trails in the Sky first chapter as a traveling bard and hunter of love, we later find out that he's actually the prince of the Erebonian Empire. And while other characters that we meet in the Sky trilogy kind of just, fell off the earth in the Crossbow duology and the Cold Steel games, this dashing prince does not. He actually appears in more games than not. And while at first glance he can come off as pretty vapid, he plays quite a major role in the series. Going undercover, he's able to gather intelligence and investigate other countries on the down low. In combat, he uses an orbital gun to shoot enemies from afar, and he comes equipped with many skills to nullify arts. Speaking of which, he is one of the best casters in the game, so loading him down with some orbments is the best use of this musically inclined prince. Number 7, submitted by Contigo and the Cutmaster, and receiving 53 votes, is Nina of Breath of Fire 2. Why specifically this Nina, and not the other Ninas, you ask? Well, the other Ninas were all sheltered, naive princesses, but Nina of Breath of Fire 2 is different. She was born with a black set of wings, which were thought to be a cursed bad omen, so her parents cast her out of Windia at birth. Through the story, we find out her tragic background and the heartbreaking decision that the king and queen had to make in order to save their kingdom. It isn't until later, when the party needs the powers of the Great Bird, that we learn even more of the tragic backstory of her birth, and the reason why the power was lost in the first place. Unlike her ancestors who could do so at will, now the Great Bird transformation is permanent, and although another path is eventually taken, Nina is ready and willing to sacrifice herself for the good of her people. Her dedication to them, even through this hardship, makes her the #1 princess and best Nina of the series. Number 6, submitted by Cordova Man and receiving 38 votes, is Pooh of Earthbound. What a name for a prince. This bald-headed boy is the crown prince of Dalam, and a trained martial artist who specializes in offensive and defensive PSI. Though, since he hails from the Far East, his palate is not used to the foods of Eagle Land, and it's also hard for him to equip their weapons and armor. After completing his meditation training, he teleports over to Summers to meet Ness in their journey to stop Gigas. He's only with you for a short while though, before leaving again to learn the Starstorm move. Then, after getting that, he rejoins and becomes super helpful, not only as a warrior, but, as another backpack to hold items. This prince is popular with the ladies out of battle, and in battle, he has the best luck and speed, but he lacks some offense and IQ. But if you are lucky enough to get the Sword of Kings drop, his regular physical attacks can be just as powerful as Ness's. Number 5, submitted by Weird Duck Season and receiving 48 votes, is Marth of the Fire Emblem series. This blue-haired prince takes the starring role in the first and third games in the series, as well as their respective remakes, and there, he's easily one of the most powerful characters in the party. When his father, the King of Altea, is killed, Marth is forced into exile, and he begins adventuring and assembling allies to retake his kingdom. A powerful sword user, Marth can wield the legendary Falcon and Mercurius. He's able to take on most enemy units due to his really solid stat lines, but he can struggle with tougher lance users. He also comes across as a bit of a himbo, who's oblivious to when people are betraying him, or even when some of his beautiful women in his army want him to, unsheath his meat sword for them. In spite of all this, or perhaps because of it, Marth comes to be revered as a legendary hero king, even centuries after his reign is over. Number 4, submitted by Ace Trainer AJ and receiving 38 votes, is Alina of Dragon Quest IV. Most princesses in NES games were damsels in distress, but Alina is not. The tomboy proves to her father that she's not your typical princess by venturing through her kingdom, saving the village of Tempe from monsters, saving an imposter from being kidnapped by Sorrow, getting the Tsar's voice back with the birdsong Nectar, and then proving her strength at the tournament over in Endor. Being the quintessential martial artist, Alina has really good HP, strength, and agility growths, and her critical hit ratio scales to her level, unlike every other party member in the game, which makes her the best metal slime killing machine, especially if you equip those fancy stiletto earrings that allow her to attack twice. Alina can kick all sorts of ass in battle, and she proves to be a very valuable asset to the Chosen One. Number 3, submitted by Elise and Art Caravan and receiving 69 votes, is Bowser from Super Mario RPG. While Bowser is the villain in most Mario games, there are occasions where he will not only ally himself with Mario and crew, but become a fully playable party member, and that's the case here. After having been exiled from his castle from Smithy, the King of the Koopas reluctantly joins Mario's party by literally busting down the door to Booster's tower so that they can progress. In battle, in addition to using his claws and being a tank, he can also throw his arch-rival at enemies and use his commanding presence to call upon his subjects to attack and inflict status effects for him. He also has the ability to scare some monsters just by showing up. I mean, there is a reason why they say it's good to be the king. Number 2, submitted by the Cutmaster and receiving 67 votes, is Princess Toadstool of Super Mario RPG. This princess wears many hats and takes many names, from existing as a damsel in distress, to functioning as a healer, to attacking enemies with her frying pan, to floating through the air. She's easily recognized by her pink floor-length gown and long blonde hair, and she's beloved across the Mushroom Kingdom and around the world. Although we first meet her as a damsel in distress in Super Mario Bros., she quickly proved in Mario Bros. 2 that, thanks to her floating dress, she doesn't need a man to rescue her. Though, we had to in Super Mario RPG, but once you get her, the last character that joins up with Mario, she will not be leaving your party. Not only is she the best healer in the game, but her tanking abilities are second to none as well. Put this bitch up on the front lines and she'll smack the shit out of anybody who crosses her. And if an enemy dares to lay a finger on her, the lazy shell will ensure that she escapes without harm. At this point, it's really just a question of who will take over that third slot. And number 1, submitted by Serena Fair and receiving 75 votes, is Edgar of Final Fantasy VI. Finally, we have the young king of Figaro Castle and brother to that gym rat Sabin. On the surface, he is allied to the Empire, but he secretly conspires with the Returners against them. He joins the party very early on, and he proves his usefulness quickly as a quick-witted engineer. His tools command is ridiculously overpowered, especially in the World of Balance, where he can pretty much wipe out every single mob that you encounter in one hit with his auto crossbow and bio blaster. Or, if you need heavy single target damage for a boss, he's got you covered there too. He can equip swords, spears, and heavy armor primarily, but in the World of Ruin, he can kind of undergo a class change and become a jumping dragoon. People often think of royalty as pampered, however, he always pulls his weight and he does right by his people. So that's it for the top 10 best JRPG royalty. I would like to thank everyone for their participation in this series over the past 2 years. It's been an absolute blast, but all good things must come to an end, and this here is the end of this particular series. But before I go, we do have some honorable mentions to go through. Natalia of Tales of the Abyss, Madison from Dragon Quest V, Albert from Legend of Dragoon, Frederica from Triangle Strategy, The Beast from the Kingdom Hearts series, Erica from Radiant Historia, Morag and Zeke from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Riddell of Chrono Cross, Amalia from Chained Echoes, Enrique from Skies of Arcadia, Arnie from Shining Force, Eustace from the Trails of Cold Steel series, Freyajor from Suikoden 5, Sveta from Golden Sun Dark Dawn, Sapphire of Disgaea 3, Gerard from Romancing Saga 2, Ariana from Etrian Odyssey Untold 2, and Tiana from Unchained Blades. Who are your favorite RPG royalty and why? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video and want to do on the channel, please consider following me over on Twitter, supporting me on Patreon for exclusive videos and early access to my content, heading on over to Twitch for some streaming fun, or coming on over to my Discord to chat and hang out. The links to them all can be found in the video description. This has been David, and if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.